Welcome to your Aligned as Fuck Life podcast, hosted by your girl, Shalvika. I am a life transformation coach, a wife, a cat mom, pure generator, Enneagram 3, Pisces sign, and helping you build an aligned as fuck life is my jam. Out in this world, we believe that there are no set rules for building a life, career, and business. That we are all unique and we should be able to embrace our uniqueness in everything we do while shedding all the rules or bullshit rules one at a time. We will talk all things mindset, manifestation, healing, energetics, rituals, success, and so much more. I believe that I can have it all and you can too. Ready for an episode that will take you one step closer to your aligned as fuck life? Let's get started. Hello, you lovelies. I am so excited to be here. I'm sure you can see it in my voice. I am back at the podcast with a very super fucking juicy episode, which is titled Why You Struggle with Taking Action. And oh my god, guys, this is gold. If I may say so, this episode is fucking gold. But before I dive into the actual content, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that yes, I have been off the radar with this podcast because, like many of you, I struggle with taking consistent action myself. And that's exactly what prompted me to create this episode for you so that we actually are able to identify where is the gap. We are able to identify what it is that is holding us back, and more than anything else, just fucking build the results that we deserve in our lives. All right. So, the whole personal growth industry, if you follow any coaches, personal growth gurus, if you follow any personal development specialists, everyone, okay, there is a lot of emphasis given on just taking action. I mean, even the whole mantra of just do it, right? It's so focused on taking action right fucking now that it doesn't really go into what goes behind in your brain around taking action, right? And so today we are going to dive into that. Today we are going to dive into why you struggle with taking action and what we can do, or what you can do rather, to change that so that you can start taking action day after day, every single day. Right? And like I said, it's linked to this podcast because I've been off recording this podcast for a few months and I was asking myself what's stopping me, and there you have it. I was like, okay, I've got to do an episode on this. So let's get into it. You must have read this quote that your thoughts are creating your reality, that everything that you do is translating into the reality in the world around you. And I'm sure you must have been like, no, that's not true, because I think I deserve better. I think I deserve better relationships. I think I deserve more money. I think I deserve peace. I think I deserve a better boss, whatever it is that you deserve, right? I'm sure you're like, oh, but I think that all the time, but that's not translating into my reality. So no, that can't be fucking true. You know what? It is true. Your thoughts do create your reality, and I'm going to dive into how that really happens. And yes, action is a big part of it. So anytime you think a thought, right? You think, say for example, you believe that I don't deserve more money, right? I'm not that talented. I don't deserve to get paid more. If that is a thought that you have, your thought is going to lead to an emotion. So in this situation, it might be an emotion of feeling unworthiness. It might be an emotion of apathy because you're like, oh, anyway, I don't deserve it. So why should I feel any different? Like indifference is something that feels more comfortable in this because anyway, nothing's gonna change. And that emotion is what is driving your actions. So when you feel apathy, when you feel disconnected or disinterested, you are not going to take the action that is necessary for you to make more money, right? And which is going to translate directly into results. But then again, now you're going to say, but I do have thoughts that say, oh, but I deserve money, right? I deserve more money. Yes, you do have those thoughts. But when you think about, I deserve more money, is there a small part in your brain that goes, really? Do you really think? Do you really believe you deserve more money? Like, is there a part of you that goes like, but what are you going to do with more money? I mean, you already have, you have money to pay your rent and buy you food and, meet your basic needs and go for shopping, blah, 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 blah. Why the fuck do you need more money? Is there any part of you, even the smallest part of you that thinks this thought? Because the minute you think this thought, right, all of the remaining cycle is going to repeat. The cycle of your thought triggering the emotion or feeling. That emotion or feeling driving your action. And that action driving the results that you get. This is going to happen whether the thought is positive or negative. See, your brain is extremely neutral. It doesn't distinguish against a positive thought or a negative thought. A thought is a thought, right? So anytime you say that I want more money, if there is a teeny tiny bit of you that says, oh, but you don't deserve it, it's going to follow the thought spiral of apathy. It's going to follow the thought spiral of sadness. It's going to follow the emotional cycle of undeservedness, which is going to drive your actions and which is going to drive your results. Right? And this is exactly why you struggle with taking action, because say you go to someone and you're like, I want more money, and the first advice that they give you is, why don't you apply to jobs that pay more money, right? And you go ahead and you do that. You apply to jobs that pay more money. What's going to happen is, even when you apply to those jobs, there's going to be parts of you that's going to think that you don't deserve it. There's going to be parts of you that's going to hold themselves back because you believe that you don't deserve it, or you don't need that money, or whatever it is that you have, whatever story it is that you have around that. And when that happens, you're not going to show up as your best self. You're not going to write a kick-ass resume. Or even if you do write a good resume and you get shortlisted, you're going to fuck up the interview. Or even if you don't fuck up the interview, there is always going to be this part of you that doesn't show and express themselves completely, which is going to be communicated to the person who's interviewing you. Because you know what? Human beings are extremely intuitive beings, right? So the person who's interviewing you is going to know that something's wrong when you aren't showing completely in yourself. Now, let me give you an example. Have you ever been on a date where you know that the person in front of you isn't really into you, even though they are doing everything that a person's supposed to do on a date? How do you know that? That is your intuition. So when you aren't completely sold in your head, in your beliefs, in your thought system, that you deserve more money, that your interviewer is going to know that. Your interviewer is going to sense that you are not completely sold on that idea of the job that they are offering you. And you know what? They're not going to offer you a job because there might be someone else who feels that they deserve more, who believes that they deserve more, and then hence they show up differently. And this is the key to taking aligned action day after day. Because you know what? All of these thoughts that you have, all of these thoughts around whether I deserve something or not, whether I'm worthy of something or not, whether I need something or not, all of these are just that. They are thoughts. They are thoughts that your brain is choosing to think and believe in this moment, right? So let's do another thought experiment. Think about something that you used to hate growing up, like really hate growing up. Like I grew up in an Indian family, and brinjal or aubergines, whatever part of the world you are, so the vegetable brinjal or aubergines, I used to despise despise it as a kid. Okay, I used to never like eating a curry made of brinjals, right? You know what? Today, as a 32-year-old woman, I love brinjal. I love making curries out of it. I love adding peanuts and potatoes and adding masala and making like this really yummy fucking curry, which I enjoy eating. All of this to tell you that my thoughts around brinjal changed since I was a kid to me being here a grown woman, right? So think about that. Like, take a pause right now and think about something around which you completely changed your thoughts. Maybe your thoughts did like 180 degrees on something, on someone, on an activity, on a vegetable, on a sport, or even on how you perceive yourself, right? Like any thought process that you have experienced having shifted 180 degrees in your life, right? Now, there is your evidence. There is your evidence that your thought process can change. Whenever we like to think about our thoughts, we like to think about them as something that are rigid, something that are set in stone, but they really aren't. Depending on where you are in life, depending on what season you are in life, your thoughts keep shifting. Depending on what you expose yourself to, what you read, the kind of people you hang out with, the podcasts you listen to, the YouTube channel you listen to, the music you listen to, all of this influences the thoughts that you think. Which means that this thought that you have, this example thought about you not deserving more money, or you thinking that you aren't worthy of more money, or you thinking that I don't need more money, can also change. You can choose to change that thought right fucking now. Okay, if you guys heard those bangs, sorry, that was just me tapping the table while talking to you, so ignore that. So, how does this affect action, right? Now, let's take one area in your life where you are struggling to take consistent action. For me, that area has been this podcast, right? I have been struggling to consistently post podcast episodes. So take that area and I want you to write that down, right? And when you write that down, the area that you struggle with action, I want you to just close your eyes and ask yourself, what do I feel about this action? What emotions arise when I am thinking of taking this action? Now, let me share my story, okay? When I started to kind of dive into why am I not recording podcast episodes regularly, because I'm really excited about having my own podcast, okay? When I actually like dove into that, I realized that in my head, this was another thing to do. Like, that's what I was looking at as. My thought about my podcast was another thing that I have to do. And if you know me at all, you know that I don't really work well with have to do's and need to do's and should do's, right? So whenever that thought came to my mind, oh my God, I have to record another podcast episode, I obviously felt frustrated. I felt stressed around, but what am I going to share? What am I going to say? How am I going to talk about it? I felt overwhelmed around, oh my God, there are so many things to do and my podcasts are not like perfectly recorded. There's noise in the background and my cats meow in the background and I tap on the table and it's just not perfect. All of these thoughts are going through my head, and which made me feel a little unworthy. They made me feel overwhelmed and stressed. And as a result of which, I never ended up taking the action of actually recording my podcast. So what do? Right? How did I turn that around? In the past month, I have been consistently working on how I think about my podcast, right? And now I'm at a point where instead of it being something that I have to do because I have to market for my business, I have to put myself out there for my business, I now think of it as something, a time that I get to share in front of my mic, that I get to talk out, which, by the way, is one of my most favorite things. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love talking, right? So this is my favorite thing. It is such an exciting thing for me to be sharing my work with you, to be sharing parts of my work and being able to influence your life in however tiny way possible. Right? So today my thought around my podcast is that I'm going to take like 20 minutes and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record, and it doesn't matter if there's background noises. It doesn't matter if I forget I'm recording and I start tapping on my table. It doesn't fucking matter, because what I have to share has so much fucking value that I know for a fact that it's going to change people's lives. And the minute I started reframing that thought, I started feeling this excitement. Like even right now, I know you can't see me, but I'm waving my hands and I'm scrunching my face, and I'm just so fucking excited about being here and sharing this with you, because you know what? I love doing this. This is why I started my business, in order to impact people like you, in order to help you break out of these norms, these stupid conditioned beliefs that we have. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I decided to record this podcast today. And that's why I know for a fact that this podcast is going to be a regular it's going to make a regular appearance every single fucking week, maybe multiple times a week some weeks, because I'm excited. I am in love with this idea of sharing with you, and I'm so fucking excited to be here. So that is how you flip around your thought about something. Remember why it is that you want to do it. And if that reason doesn't convince you, maybe you need a better reason. Maybe you need to find yourself some better reason that will motivate you, a better thought that will help you generate the emotions that you need to feel in order to be excited about taking that action. Okay, to recap. Everything that you think becomes your reality. Your thoughts generate emotions or feelings. Every emotion or feeling that you have dictates the action or the lack of action or inaction that you are going to take. And every action or inaction in your life is going to lead to your reality. It's going to lead to the results that you create. So the next time you find yourself struggling with taking action, don't go ahead and just change everything. Like if you struggle with working out consistently, don't be like, I'm going to work out 5 times a week, and I'm going to get this like sexy ass bod. And yeah, it might work for a few weeks. That's how New Year's resolutions fail, right? Because they work for a few weeks or maybe a few months, but then it fizzes out because your thought behind it does not change. So work on shifting what you're thinking about that action. Work on shifting the feelings that excite you to take that action, and the action will automatically follow. And every aligned action is going to get you the results that you're looking for. So there you have it. This is why you struggle with taking action. And this is exactly how you can change that situation starting right fucking now. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up some extra inspiration and send me a hello on Instagram by searching @ShalvikaP. Also tagged in the show notes. I love and adore you so much, and I will talk to you super soon. In the meantime, continue building your most authentic and aligned as fuck life. Ciao!